Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Guys That Magic. I'm going to be your host, Dave. Today, joining me, we got Shane in here. Shane, say what's up.
What's up, nerds?
And today, we are going to be going over the murders at Karlov Manor. Spoilers. These are for January 17th, 2024. I don't know why I gave you the year. You probably don't need to know the year. You probably know whenever this set came out. And if you're watching this years in the future, that's kind of weird because these cards have been out for years. But only a couple cards that we're going to talk about today. Not really a whole lot going on with this. We've got a massive jump yesterday and like 8 cards today. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive on in. So the first card here is Ripper of Bloodlines. This is 3 and 3 black for a total of 6 mana. It is a creature vampire assassin. It's a 6/5 with flying. It also has ward, sacrifice a creature. And it says whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life.
Sounds like a Dave kind of card. I mean, it's
I
really
don't like it.
expensive. Yeah, it's really expensive, but the ward of sacrificing creatures sounds cool. And then whenever a creature dies, oh, that is target opponent. I guess it is a little. I'm thinking like an EDH. You want your entire table to get hit, but
Yeah, like 6 mana is really kind of on the upper end of things. It's really expensive. And then it's got a cool body on it. I actually am not the biggest fan of ward sacrifice creature. I don't think that's probably as impactful as what it sounds. And then aside from that, really this is just a 6 mana version of a Blood Artist, and I probably would just prefer to have Blood Artist over this.
this is Blood Artist's big brother.
I mean, it is like the big brother version of it. So I don't know. It's cool. I dig the fact that this is a card. This is 100% going to be a bomb unlimited if you can pull off that triple black. Do you think this is going to make any waves in standard?
Probably not, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I don't anticipate it making in. I don't anticipate it seeing any play there. I'm also really not confident that this is all that great. Even in I don't know. Even in EDH, I'm not the biggest fan of this card. If you're playing a vampire deck, then maybe this can be like one of the more expensive vampires there. But this is just so slow.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next card. This one is Steamcore Scholar. This is 2 and a blue. It is a creature weird detective. It's a 2/2 and it has both flying and vigilance. It also says whenever Steamcore Scholar enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard an instant card, a sorcery card, or a creature card with flying.
It's pretty weird. I'm gonna keep making that joke.
You're gonna keep this up every single day, I feel.
I mean, hey, but the stipulation of what it does is kind of weird. You got to discard one of those.
I mean, I'm kind of here for it. We've seen Flying Men decks in the past. I don't know if there's really much of a foundation for it, and 3 mana is kind of expensive for the creatures as far as most of those decks go. They kind of top off at about 3 mana. Do you think this maybe sees play?
I kind of do actually, because even if you don't discard one of the other cards to like only discard the one, I mean, is it that bad to like just draw 2 and discard 2? You can fill your graveyard with something. 3 mana for a 2/2 flying vigilance seems not horrible. I mean, it's gonna definitely be like a weird tempo deck, right? Like it's not gonna. I don't know.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, or like you mentioned, I don't think it's horrible at all. And like being able to fill up your graveyard obviously is going to be important, especially in a set like this where we do have like graveyard matters mechanics.
Yeah.
I'm not super pushed on this. I definitely think this is more of like a if the deck exists, then this will slot into it, but I don't think this actually like makes a deck.
Would this go in? You probably know this more than I do, but like, how about that Arclight Phoenix deck?
No.
No.
That deck is pretty light on creatures. I don't think that you would be wanting to run something like this. My brain actually goes more so with like Flying Men or maybe like a deck that you really want to like be able to flicker. That way you can abuse the ETB on this. Arclight is just, it's a little bit too low to the ground. I don't think you want a clunky 3-drop.
Word.
All right, we have our next enchantment, Case, that we're going to hopefully crack. This is Case of the Stashed Skeleton. It is 1 and a black for an enchantment case, and it says, whenever this case enters the battlefield, create a 2/1 black skeleton creature token and suspect it. It says to solve it, you have to control no suspected skeletons, and it says once it is solved, you may pay 1 and a black, sacrifice this case, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, then shuffle and activate only as a sorcery. So a nice little tutor effect here.
Yeah, not bad. And then I'm guessing what to solve it, unless you're playing with cards that make your creatures not suspected, you could just have that 2/1 die, because then you won't have any creatures that have suspected.
Kind of. So the little caveat here is that it kind of is a little bit more difficult to have your 2/1 die because it can't block, so you can't use it and just be like,
True.
hey, don't swing at me, otherwise I'm going to be able to crack this case or solve this case. But I don't know. Would you this is like a really slow multi-turn and 4 mana tutor. I don't think this is very good.
Yeah, because let's see, unsolved at the beginning of your end step. Oh, no, you solve it. So you couldn't. There's no way that you play this and then solve it the same turn, right? So it is going to be at
I mean,
least a 2-turn.
you could if you sacrifice your own creature, which, like, once again, that's going to be another thing that you can very well do in this set. Um, I just look at it like that as like this is 4 mana for it's a 4 mana demonic tutor, which like that is cool, but we've had those before. I'm trying to think of the name here. It is is it
Mm,
diabolic? No, diabolic. It might be diabolic tutor. Is it diabolic tutor?
dude, you're asking the wrong person.
Anyways, I remember that the 4 mana black go search your library for any card put in your hand is not a very good card.
Yeah,
So I don't anticipate this actually doing a whole lot either.
I just wanted to. I'm just running it through to my head again. So if it's unsolved, solve it at the beginning of your end step, and then you have to only activate this as sorcery. So there is no way you can make this on the same turn you play it, then, right?
Oh, there totally is. You.
No,
What do you mean?
because if it's unsolved, solve it at the beginning of your end step.
Yeah, so you get the 2/1
Yeah,
skeleton
yeah.
whenever it ETBs, and then
Uh-huh.
if you sacrifice that skeleton,
Uh-huh.
you have met its clause. So at the end step, then it'll solve.
Right, but then you can't use the solved case because it says activate only the sorcery.
Oh, okay, I
That's what I was
understand what
saying.
you're talking
Yeah,
about
sorry.
now.
Okay.
All right, we're on two different like
Got it.
we're
Got it. Got it. I
ships
was
in the
trying to
night
say
here.
you can't like use that search ability the same turn you play it. So it's like definitely going to
Gotcha.
be over the course of 2 turns.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, I think that sucks even more because then that's 2 mana the following turn that you've had to
Yeah.
sink into this that you're not actually able to sink into whatever you just grabbed.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, cases are cool, but we'll see.
All right, next up we have Pyrotechnic Performer. This is 1 and a red for a creature Viashino Assassin. It is a 3/2 and it has a disguise of a single red mana. It also says whenever Pyrotechnic Performer or another creature you control is turned face up, that creature deals damage equal to its power to each opponent.
It's not horrible. 2 mana, 3/2. Stated a little bit of aggressively, and I
It's a
like that it
pretty good,
attacks everything.
it's a pretty good body.
Yeah.
Obviously, for this set, it's meant to work around the disguise and the suspect, or not disguise and suspect. Help me out here. I'm
Cloak.
really struggling.
Disguise and cloak.
There you go, disguise and cloak mechanics. This does work with older mechanics too, though, like just good old fashioned morph, because it actually doesn't care about how like the creature is being flipped.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I like this card a lot.
Actually, yeah, I'm thinking about it more too. It's like it's not just when this card is. It's like if this card could be flipped over, then anything you're flipping now is hurting the entire table if you're playing EDH. That seems
Yeah.
pretty good. Can't
And
do your commander,
in
but pretty
case
good.
you are able to like maybe morph some more expensive things, this could hurt for quite a bit.
Yeah, kind of like it. Kind of like it.
Up next, we've got an enchantment. This is Assemble the Players. This is 1 and a white for an enchantment that says you may look at the top card of your library anytime. It also says once each turn, you may cast a creature spell with power 2 or less from the top of your library. So a little things matters enchantment.
Yeah, interesting. I'm trying to think what you would do this, or like what you would use this for in standard, but like is this? I don't know. Where would you play this card?
I think this card is actually kind of really good.
Yeah.
Being able to generate that additional card advantage can be a massive move. And then, sure, it's power 2 or less, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like they always have to be power 2 or less creatures. It could be a bunch of little creatures that actually have the ability to like grow or put +1/+1 counters on them over the course of a game. It could also be like maybe more so focused on like stacks, base decks for like EDH, because a lot of those pieces are generally relatively small. So I like this actually a lot.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. After you read that, my brain immediately was saying that power was CMC. So never mind, completely different card. I was thinking it was like cheap cards from the top of your deck, but okay. Yeah, that seems a lot better now that I think about it. I do like this.
I mean, even within standard right now, we do have some cards out there that like to play in that lane. Things like Thalia exist. So you could end up building like a low to the ground, tax your opponent out, just kind of sneak under them and prevent them from being able to play on their game plan. That way you can just kind of like beat them to death.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like it. Assemble the players. Sign me up.
All right, we've got Delney Streetwise Lookout up next. This is 2 and a white for a legendary creature, Human Scout. It is a 2/2, and it says creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. It also says if an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, that ability triggers an additional time.
Okay.
I
Speaking
think this
of
card,
2 or smaller, yeah.
yeah, I was going to say, I think this card works really well with the one we just talked about, that is some of
Yeah.
the players.
Yeah. Interesting. I like this card.
I do too. I like this just for like any kind of like go wide tokens based gameplay, just because I mean, for the most part, your creatures probably aren't going to be all that big. You're going to want to just like overwhelm your opponent with sheer force. with just like number of creatures. So this could potentially make your creatures unblockable. Also, that doubling effect is huge.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think Hunter left a little note for us that this goes really well with disguise cards.
Yeah, it does. He made a comment here that it also works with ward and doubles up those wards too.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about
So,
disguise, David, they have ward.
oh, you know what? I forgot about that, dude. There's so many different like flippy mechanics in this set.
I
I'm
know.
sorry. I'm still trying to learn
I
it.
know.
I
I know.
cannot for the life of me remember their names.
Yeah, this set is bringing a lot of mechanics that were like already existing and then just kind of tweaked a little bit. So that's interesting, but that's more about the set and less about this card. I do like this card. Maybe even about a commander. We'll talk about it more when we do commander grades.
Yep. We'll save that one for later on.
Yeah.
All right, up next we have Intrude on the Mind, and that is totally not Jason the artwork, but it is 3 and 2 blue for a total of 5 mana. It is an instant, and it says reveal the top 5 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles. Put that pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Create a 0/0 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. Then put a +1/+1 counter on it for each card put into your graveyard this way.
Huh.
Ooh.
That's a lot going on there you had to read.
There is a lot going on this card. These kinds of effects are always really powerful. Coming in at 5 mana is a bit steep, but this thing is an instant.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And it's definitely not Jace, right?
It's definitely totally 100% not Jace.
That's Prof, whatever the Prof guy's name.
The Prof guy?
Yeah, the main guy that's like the detective, Alk Prof or whatever. That's him.
Oh, no. I'm talking about the dude with the cloak.
Oh yeah, got it. I was like, no, we know who that guy is, Dave.
That's why I'm making my Jace jokes. I'm like, that is
okay,
like,
I'm dumb.
that looks very Jace.
All right. Do you think creating a colorless Thopter, like, so what's the best part of this card? The fact that you're going to be getting cards?
Oh,
Like,
100%.
yeah, I was gonna say you don't really care about the Thopter you're making. I'm guessing.
I mean, this isn't the first time around that we've seen these kinds of effects. Normally, these cards are pretty good because you want to be playing them in decks that don't care if things go to the graveyard. So you can either recur it or you can use it for additional value. There's tons of that already with this set. If there is any kind of like slow, grindy deck, I can 100% see this seeing play.
Actually, now that I think about it, the Thopter is actually really cool because it's kind of giving your opponent another thing to think about when they're giving you cards. Like you put them in 2 piles, and it's like, all right, you want to make a big flyer, or do you want to give me these good cards?
Exactly. And then
Yeah.
even at that too, I mean, you're probably going to be playing this in a control shell, and typically those decks run a little bit lighter on the creatures.
Yeah.
So now you're not making them actually make a choice between card advantage and a creature. You're giving them both, all
Yeah.
stapled onto just this one.
That's really cool. I like this totally not Jace card.
All right, and then the last card that we have to talk about today, this is Unyielding Gatekeeper. It is 1 and a white for a creature, Elephant Cleric. It is a 3/2 and it has a disguise cost of 1 and a white. It also says whenever Unyielding Gatekeeper is turned face up, exile another target non-land permanent. If you control it, return it to the battlefield tapped. Otherwise, its controller creates a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token.
A little bit of flicker if you choose.
If you choose, this kind of has like a pseudo removal effect on it. Like they're going to get a 2/2 out of it, but that's not bad.
No, I mean, we have other things that get rid of cards that give you 3/3s and 1/1s. So, like, we're not a 2/2 now.
I mean, yeah, you're going to just like downgrade whatever their threat is, whatever their big creature is. So I'm 100% here for this. I think this card is pretty impactful. I do think that there's probably going to be some disguise cards that see play, so it's not potentially just going to be this one. In fact, actually, just like going along with the last card that we saw earlier on from this video, the Pyrotechnic Performer, maybe there's a Boros disguise deck that we end up seeing, or maybe a red-white splash, maybe another color.
Yeah.
So lots of little threats that you can kind of keep an eye on whenever they transform. Or not transform, sorry. Whenever they undisguise, or whatever the word is. I don't want to say morph either. It's whenever they flip.
Yeah. No, I get you, dude. You got to remember, too, like, this is going to cost 5 for that, though, right? Like, it's kind of expensive.
It is kind of expensive.
But, I mean, I guess that's good.
I mean, you can go ahead and you can drop one of these in the early game in the case that you need to, because you can split up that 5 mana over the course of 2 different turns.
Yeah.
So like you can still do this relatively early on if you need that kind of effect. If you don't need the kind of effect, you can always just play this as its normal front half creature. And then I don't know. I think there's enough upside here, at least with interaction, that you might be able to kind of mess around with your opponents.
Yeah, because I guess you will be having that 2/2 with Ward 2 for the time being, and then when they play the big thing you want to get rid of, like, all right, it's time to flip.
I mean, you could also use this defensively too, since you're able to do this with your own creature.
True.
So if you do have a big creature that you want to be able to protect, you can always use the Unyielding Gatekeeper's ability to target your own thing, and then it kind of flickers it. So
Yeah.
maybe you save it from a kill spell.
Yeah, another good card. I think we had some good cards today.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of it. I'm excited for a lot of these. Real quick, before we start doing the tidy up portion of all this, do you happen to have a favorite card that we talked about today?
I think I might like Pyrotechnic Performer, that red one.
Oh, yeah, I like that card a lot. I think my personal favorite is probably gonna be Assemble the Players.
Yeah, I like that one too. We had a bunch of good
Also,
cards here, dude.
yeah, lots of good cards. I can see quite a few of these see in play, so that's awesome. In the case you are wondering where all the uncommons and commons are at, we actually don't talk about them for these videos, but we do post all of them on our Instagram. So go follow us on Instagram at GuysThatMagic. While you are checking out our socials, by the way, we are also on TikTok and we are also on Twitter. So make sure you check us out there as well. And then lastly, of course, I know that you've already done this. You've already hit subscribe for this YouTube channel and you've already liked this video. And if you haven't done so, what are you waiting for? Go ahead, smash those buttons. We love the support. Make sure you guys, that you comment down below. What was your favorite card? What is something that you are excited for this set? Is there a specific mechanic that you're really looking forward to? Maybe a color combination that you're really excited to play. So give us some feedback. We love all that kind of good jazz. And anything else that we want to go ahead and mention there, Shane, before we wrap things up?
I mean, we do have a Patreon, so if you guys want to support a little bit more, down in the description, you'll also find a Patreon. But I think that's
Absolutely.
it.
Well, thank you again so much, and we'll post another video out tomorrow, hopefully with some more good cards. Till next time, peace.
Bye-bye.